The sandstorm was getting closer and closer, yet the man knelt in the desert without any intention of standing up to escape. Instead, he hurriedly pulled a scarf from his bag and covered his mouth and nose. Then he plunged the barrel of his sniper rifle into the sand to use it as a support. Finally, he drove his knife deep into the sand with his right hand to fix himself in place. Soon, the raging wind carried yellow sand like a flood, surging at him from the side. In the blink of an eye, his head was buried under a thick layer of sand, making it hard to breathe and impossible to open his eyes. Yet even so, Tom did not move an inch. Half of his body was being lashed painfully by the sand, but he refused to change his posture to avoid the increasingly violent storm. Such madness was nothing less than a provocation against nature. Then came an even stronger gust, lifting half of his body as if to hurl him to the ground. Caught off guard, Tom nearly fell, but compared to the apocalyptic storm, he seemed far more afraid of what his left foot was pressing down on. Even when sand stuffed his facial features, he still refused to lift his foot to adjust. Instead, he jammed the dagger back into the ground with all his strength, clenched his teeth, and held on desperately. Fortunately, sandstorms come fast and go fast. Just when Tom was on the verge of death, the storm suddenly vanished without a trace, revealing a clear sky once more. Having survived the ordeal, Tom pulled off his scarf and let out a long breath. He could hardly believe that such a massive sandstorm hadn't made him budge even slightly. If his left foot hadn't been pressing on a landmine, he would never have dared to resist with his body alone. After a short rest, Tom was shocked to discover that his comrade, who had been killed by a landmine, had been blown by the storm right beside him. He was momentarily stunned, but soon realized that his comrade carried a radio battery. As long as he could restore communication with headquarters, his chances of survival would greatly increase. So, with no time for grief, he dragged his comrade toward him and pulled the battery from his pocket. But to his dismay, he found that the radio pack had already been blown 5 meters away by the wind. With a landmine under his foot, he dared not move at all, making it impossible to reach. The absurdity of the situation made Tom laugh bitterly at himself. He didn't know how much time had passed, but under the scorching sun, dizziness overwhelmed him, and the rescue convoy would not arrive for another 43 hours.